And good afternoon, Northeast Ohio. Tracking some storms. Haven't been able to say this much for the last, I'd say, almost 3 weeks here in Northeast Ohio. So a welcome sight of rain, but it does come with a little bit more stronger storm potential. And we do have a severe thunderstorm warning already in play across Medina County right now, and that goes to about 2:30-ish. Across most of Medina County. So we're definitely looking at some strong, at least potential of some lightning, and certainly a lot of heavy and steady rain over the last half hour or so. This storm has continued to increase its intensity, so a lot of that lightning continues to be in play. Almost 250 lightning strikes so far this afternoon for most of Medina County. So it's been a pretty active start to the at least 2 o'clock hour, almost about 1:53 on my watch right now. So the potential will be there for a lot of lightning and some steady, heavy rain. And the ground really hasn't seen much of this in the last couple of weeks. So there could be a couple instances of maybe some minor flooding. I'm not anticipating a lot of flooding potential, but certainly take it easy if you're going to be traveling for the next several hours up and down I-71 and eventually I-77 and 271, 480, pretty much everywhere here in Northeast Ohio with this threat of some stronger storms for the afternoon and evening today. So a lot of potential of some steady rain on the horizon already this afternoon. And let's take off the lightning here. If I can get my monitors straightened out here, let's take a look at what we're looking at with regards to wind. So the majority of at least Medina right now towards Lafayette, up towards the northeastern half of the county, certainly inundated with a lot of that steady, heavy rain. But let's take a look at some of those winds as our base velocity is certainly increasing a little bit over the last half hour or so. Let's take a few measurements here. So some of these are getting closer to about 20 miles an hour and also a little bit closer to 20, 25 earlier in the at least run. Let's take this back a few frames right now. And those winds were certainly a little bit more intense about a half hour ago. But the bigger concern right now is certainly a little bit more of that hail. Notice the black areas on some of the returns right now, especially in through parts of western Medina County, just north of Homer, around 135. Potential for at least a little bit of hail was certainly indicated on the power of 5, and that continued to move eastward and kind of moved into the lighter pink colors. So the potential for some hail actually reaching the ground just north of Homer is a possibility. Lodi towards Lafayette right now looks to be maybe a little bit of small hail, a possibility, but certainly some very heavy rain with some of these storms as we do get into the next half hour or so. So let's take a look at what the National Weather Service has been at least encountering with regards to reports. If you've seen any hail right now in parts of Medina County, certainly let me know, as that threat was there about 10, 15 minutes ago in the western half of Medina County. So right now it's going to be a little bit more of a potential for some hail and even a little bit more of some wind, about 50, maybe 60 mile per hour gusts in a couple of these storms. But right now the only severe thunderstorm warning in play is for Medina County through about the 2:30 time slot. We have about a half hour until that actually does begin to expire. But a lot of this rain is starting to make its way back into Northeast Ohio for the first time in a few weeks. So this is a welcome sight for sure. And the rain is kind of setting up shop right across the I-71 corridor, all the way from parts of Geauga County down through Greater Cleveland, Medina, Ashland, Mansfield, even into central Ohio. A lot of the shower activity continues to march a little bit further eastward. And we do have the potential of some stronger storms. If I can get our map up right quick here. So this is our severe threat for the day today. So right now, that green shading is more of that marginal risk, so more of an isolated threat of a couple of strong storms. But the further south and westward you go, so from Mansfield to Ashland, towards Medina, Akron, Canton, Dover, New Philly, and everywhere in between, that threat for a little bit more activity is a possibility for the afternoon and evening today. We could see potential for some stronger winds, maybe a little bit of hail in a couple locations, but certainly some very heavy rain and lightning going to be the bigger concern for the afternoon and evening today across our central and southern communities for the next several hours. So right now, we only have that one severe thunderstorm warning in parts of Medina County as we go back to our radar. And that's pretty much about it as far as severe weather is concerned right now. Certainly some heavy rain towards the Ashland area around Route 30, and now just moving into parts of Wayne County around West Salem, Congress, Lodi, certainly seeing a lot of potential for some heavy, steady rain all the way up through Brecksville, Richfield, and up towards Greater Cleveland. That threat is starting to increase around the I-271 corridor, just to the west of Solon right now. Some decent rains and Brandywine to Brecksville to Richfield. So certainly drive with caution if you're going to be out and about for the afternoon and evening today, as this rain is going to be pretty steady for the next several hours. And I think we'll start to see even more potential of some rain, if not some rumbles of thunder, throughout the second half of the afternoon through this evening before things finally begin to quiet down for the second half of the overnight tonight. But still some rain chances for the next several days. So we're looking at a pretty big pattern switch from what we were just a couple days ago here in Northeast Ohio with the very dry conditions. So the rain is welcome, but a lot of it in a very short amount of time, not necessarily the greatest of things. So we do have that severe thunderstorm warning to recap for Medina County through about 2:30 this afternoon. A lot of that steady, heavy rain being the primary concern. And there was some indication of some hail on the Power 5 just a few frames ago. Just to the north of Homer, we certainly saw a very good indication of some significant hail potential of around an inch to maybe inch and a half as that system did start to strengthen. That was the initial kind of a response from the National Weather Service to kind of issue that severe thunderstorm warning, which was definitely some much needed warning. But a lot of this, thankfully, is starting to at least not pose as much of a threat as it did earlier, as the system continues to at least drop any of that hail potential. And also winds are not as strong as they were before that hail began to fall. But we'll notice the National Weather Service kind of trimming off some of that warning. So it doesn't necessarily include Lodi, but it does include Lafayette up to parts of Brunswick and just to the north of Wadsworth. That yellow polygon, still indicates that potential of some stronger storms for the afternoon and evening today. So right now, the only severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until about 2:30, which does not include Lodi right now towards Homer. So it is trimmed a bit, which is the good news. And that continues to march further eastward as the instability kind of increased a little bit throughout the afternoon hours. We did see some sunshine for the start of this afternoon, but a lot of this is going to be kind of at least a threat for some damaging winds, maybe a little bit of hail in a couple locations, but heavy rain will be the biggest concern throughout the afternoon today. So right now, a lot of this rain is a little bit more sub-severe across greater Cleveland, down towards the Ashland area and further at least southward, but the lightning has begun to pick back up again. Let's take a look at our current lightning strikes right now. So a lot of this lightning is increasing over the last half hour or so. Let's put this into motion. So between about 1:30 and 3 o'clock, we're still looking at about 200 at least strikes for the afternoon hours. So a lot of lightning still with this. So that means there's a lot of instability still to work with within the atmosphere, but this will start to die down a little bit throughout the next couple of hours, especially behind the main line. So this is going to be the biggest concern for lightning strikes, especially because once you get past that, things kind of at least stabilize slightly towards Norwalk, Sandusky, Lorain, Oberlin, not seeing as much lightning. So the atmosphere is kind of being worked over. So that's preventing a little bit more of that lightning to kind of pop back up again. But still, the threat for some showers and storms starting to make their way back into Northeast Ohio this afternoon. Some heavy, steady rain will certainly be a big possibility for most areas as we do get into the afternoon today. So let's take a look at a couple of our comments right now. If we can stop our radar here for a second. Let's see here. We've got Hillary watching us on Facebook, hailing in Medina. Hillary, if you've got any reports, if you're safely able to get those reports, kind of give me a size, like pea size, maybe up to dime size, or perhaps even quarter size. I'd love to know exactly how big of that hail that you did see in Medina right now. So let me know about that if you can. Let's see here. Tamara, nothing in Brimfield, but we really need this rain. My goodness, we definitely do. A lot of the rain has been kind of scarce for the last couple of weeks. We saw a little bit yesterday, but certainly a lot more in the forecast during the day today. And Mike, watching us on Facebook, winds picking up in Lorain right now. So a little bit more of those windy conditions along with some rainy conditions. Visibility could be a little bit more in the way of impacted over the next several hours. Let's see here. Colleen, Kent, potentially could be a little strong. We're not necessarily seeing anything severe at the moment for parts of Kent right now, but the threat could be there for some stronger winds, maybe a little bit more in the way of heavy rain over the next several hours. So definitely stay tuned. We'll bring you the latest and keep you informed over the next several hours on anything that does begin to pop up. But the only severe thunderstorm warning we do have right now is for Medina County, and that goes through about 2:30 this afternoon. So right now it's a little after 2 o'clock, so about 28 minutes or so. We will potentially see that warning die down, but still the threat for some stronger storms in its wake across Medina County, and still keeping an eye on a little bit more of those storms along that line. So Akron, you're pretty much up next towards Hudson, up towards Menor. The threat for more steady, heavy rain will be at least consistent chance for the rest of this afternoon. That I-71 corridor is pretty much where those storms do lie at the moment, and that will be more or less what we're worried about for the next several hours. So right now, Massillon, let's see here, James, we're working on getting that line towards the Massillon area over the next, I'd say, half hour, 45 minutes. Could be a little feisty as it does move further into Stark County, but definitely keep an eye on things as this system is already starting to show signs of a couple of stronger storms right now. So this may be impacting folks between about 3 and 4 o'clock, the further south and east. So I'd say the further south of Canton towards the Pennsylvania line between about maybe 3 and 4 o'clock. We'll start to see a lot of those storms moving back in as this line's really not moving too quickly. I've not really seen too many reports right now. And Hillary, awesome. I got some pea-sized hail at Medina Square. Hail for a couple minutes, so definitely some truth to the radar report. So that is excellent news. Thank you very much, Hillary, for your report. We greatly appreciate it. So there was some pea-sized hail reported in Medina from this storm. So we have some verified, at least evidence of that potential of some hail over the last half hour or so. So thank you very much for your report, Hillary. We greatly appreciate that. And let's see here. The Burton area could potentially see a couple of storms in the next half hour or so, Brenda. So we'll keep an eye on things. A lot of this is going to be a little bit more in the way of rainy towards the Geauga and points north line, but certainly some potential for a couple of stronger storms. The majority of the severe weather lies a little bit further south of greater Cleveland. So the threat will be there for a couple of stronger storms, but I'm not really anticipating a lot of severe weather this afternoon. There are some factors that kind of at least impede that potential of some stronger storms, but there is enough there to cause some concern. Obviously, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning for Medina County right now, with a lot of that lightning and certainly some hail being reported. Granted, it's pea-size to maybe quarter size, but nonetheless, still some hail being reported early this afternoon. So let's take a look. Brian, Portage County, starting to see a little bit of that rain, at least kind of flirting with Portage County right now. We will see that increase over the next several hours. Models kind of suggesting more of that rain, especially after we get into the 3 and 4 o'clock hour. So that evening commute could be a little bit more hazardous here in Northeast Ohio. Let's see here. Let's take a look actually at our computer models from the last couple of hours. I can kind of pull that up for a second. This is our morning run. Our afternoon run hasn't quite gotten in all the way just yet, but doing a pretty good job of a couple of storms. Not quite doing a good job at keeping a lot of that potential of severe weather out of Cleveland. This is our computer model, not the actual radar, but certainly showing signs of rain nonetheless. And then more of that rain will start to filter in once we do get into the afternoon and the evening. So this is the big blob that I'm kind of worried about later today through this evening. So a lot of folks may be having some plans tonight. Anticipate keeping the umbrellas handy as a lot more of that rain slowly makes its way back into Northeast Ohio. So at least the models kind of doing a good job right now. The main line is certainly well to the south of greater Cleveland with those stronger storms in and around Medina County right now. We still have that warning until about 2:30 this afternoon, but the main focus towards the south has been a lot more steady rain all the way from Lodi down towards Ashland and Mansfield. Not a lot of lightning. The main focus for lightning certainly has been in Medina County and points north towards Menor and into parts of Summit County. So a lot of that rain certainly coming down at a pretty good clip as well. So there will be potential for some steady, heavy rain. A little bit of flooding is at least a concern, not a great issue, thankfully, despite having a lot of that potential of some flooding rains with a lot of that dry weather we've seen over the last several weeks. So the ground will hopefully at least welcome most of this rain without many problems. But streets, sidewalks, you will want to take it easy as that rain doesn't really have anywhere to go other than just kind of collect on some of the roadways. So hydroplaning could be a possibility for folks as we're out and about throughout the afternoon and evening today. So currently we have that severe thunderstorm warning still in place for Medina County this afternoon. And let's take a look at a couple of our, let's see here. Wrong phone. Oops. Okay, so we still have that severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30 in the afternoon for Medina County, and we're still looking at potential for some at least quarter-size hail or smaller, and also some stronger winds as this storm is slowly moving to the east at around 25 miles per hour. So it's going to take some time between about, I'd say, now and closer to 4 o'clock before things actually do reach parts of Canton towards the south around Carroll County and Tuscarawas County. So I think you're still a little bit better off in our extreme southeastern communities if you want to get out and about for the next, I'd say, hour or so without many problems, but some rain starting to pop in just south of Alliance, and more of these showers and storms slowly making their way southward for the next several hours before another round moves back in during the second half of the evening and beyond. So the potential will be increasing greatly for the latter half of your Monday into Tuesday, and the rain threats certainly going to be increasing for the day today and tomorrow before things kind of quiet down a little bit, but also the threat for a lot more in the way of moisture. Take a look at these dew points. Haven't seen these numbers for a while. That's indication of a lot more humidity as dew points have climbed well into the low and mid 60s. So kind of feeling muggy for the first time. Had a few people here at the station go, has it gotten any hotter outside? I go, no, the humidity has been increasing. So you're kind of noticing that at least warmth a little bit more compared to where we have been over the last several days. I know my air conditioner has not been on for a good 3 weeks. Kind of turned it on last night to kind of get some of that humidity out of the house. But overall, a lot of this humidity going to be at least with us today, tomorrow, slowly starting to retreat a little bit by the end of this week through the weekend. So we won't be as humid, but the threat of some rain definitely a potential for the next several hours. So let's go back to our Power 5 right now. And let's see here. Let's see. Sue, heading north from Columbus on 71. Give yourself plenty of extra time. A lot of this rain is basically just right along 71. So if you're going to be traveling from central Ohio towards the north, you're going to be encountering a lot of this steady, heavy rain. You'll make it, but just give yourself plenty of time and make sure you give yourself plenty of room between you and the car in front of you, as some hydroplaning will be a possibility. So if you're traveling anywhere from greater Cleveland towards the Ashland and Mansfield area, it's going to be a pretty rainy commute for the next hour or so. A lot of this is slowly making its way southward, but not really moving too quickly anytime soon. It's about 20 to 25 miles per hour, so pretty slow in the grand scheme of things. As we've seen storms booking at about 60 to 70 miles an hour, especially during the summertime, with some of those upper level winds kind of guiding more of those storms as they do move further into Ohio. But right now, just a line of rain, a lot of thunder, and we do have that one severe thunderstorm warning, which has been kind of shrinking over the last half hour or so. So central Medina right now, a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning out there, and a lot of this is kind of making its way out of central Medina. So the further north and west of greater Medina is a little bit better off. So that is the good news. So if you're out and about, it won't be as rainy, but the further east of Medina, we'll be talking more steady, heavy rain, and that will be the case for the extreme southern half of the Lee's County as well. So towards Seville and also into Creston, it's going to be a very rainy, soggy next half hour, 45 minutes as all this continues to march eastward for the next at least hour or so before it does finally start to move into parts of Akron and Canton in the I-77 corridor. But right now, I-71, let's take a look here if I can kind of draw I-71 out. So from Medina all the way down to Ashland and Mansfield, you're pretty much all in that rain. So a lot of steady, heavy rain, some lightning being reported in many locations along I-71 towards the greater Cleveland area. So give yourself plenty of time if you're going to be traveling in the near future for the latter half of the 2 and 3 o'clock hour today. So it's going to be a pretty steady, heavy rain with a lot of that lightning that continues to march through right now. So a lot of this rain is falling at a pretty good clip. It's not necessarily a deluge of rain, but it's the heaviest we've seen since about, I'd say, the 4th or 5th of September for many areas. A little upper level disturbance kind of kicking up some of these raindrops for the afternoon and into this evening. So to take a wider view right now, let's take a look if I can find our front map right now. So a lot of this rain is moving in from our western communities, and we do have a frontal boundary well off towards the north. That'll be in more of a play for the afternoon tomorrow. But a lot of this steady, heavy rain is well ahead of that boundary, an upper level disturbance kicking up more of this rain right now from Indianapolis towards northwestern Ohio into greater Cleveland, and starting to see some, at least indication of some rain for parts of West Virginia. So a lot of this is continuing to at least start off for the next couple of hours before things do finally become a bit more in the way of at least some steady, perhaps even some heavy rain once we get through the latter half of the afternoon. So it's going to be a pretty soggy end to the day today for many locations, and models suggesting a good maybe inch or two before the end of the day today through the day tomorrow. So we may be picking up a couple of inches in a couple locations. So by the end of your Tuesday, models suggesting 3/4 of an inch to nearly an inch in a few locations. And notice a lot more of those closer to inch range is to our south. And that'll be kind of the scenario today through the day tomorrow before we start to see a little bit less of that rain. Still, the chance lingers even into the end of this week. So this won't be quite a drought-busting rain by any stretch. We kind of at least have that report for the drought monitor tomorrow. It won't be officially issued until Thursday, so we'll have a couple days of rain to kind of alleviate some of that potential of droughts, but I don't think it'll be completely washed out by any stretch over the next 24 to 36 hours. So right now, a lot of this rain is slowly making its way eastward right now. Let's take a look at Cheyenne watching us on YouTube. Thank you very much. A little bit of that rain will make its way into southern parts of Worcester. Not anything severe at the moment, but there will be some heavy, steady rain, a possibility with a couple of lightning strikes. Certainly a possibility for the afternoon, but I don't think anything necessarily going to be too severe. Let's take a look at our lightning right now. Notice a lot of the lightning kind of staying along that severe thunderstorm warning in Medina. There are a couple of strikes just northwest of Worcester towards the Mansfield area. So this storm is kind of the only exception for most of the area right now of a lot more lightning. So there will be a potential for a little bit more concentrated lightning in Medina County, but can't rule a little bit of that lightning out further south and west along I-77. So just take it easy. Some of this rain will be with us at least for the next half hour with some lightning, but right behind the main line, not much lightning being reported towards Norwalk, Sandusky, even into Lorain County, just a little bit further east is the closest lightning strike. But if you're close enough to hear thunder, you want to get inside, as that lightning is going to be a little bit more numerous with some of these storms, especially with the leading edge all the way from parts of Mentor, Geauga County, and point south towards Hudson, Medina, into Ashland and Mansfield. So the main threat right now, heavy rain, some gusty winds up to 40, maybe 50 miles per hour at any given time, especially in our severe thunderstorm warning. There could be potential for some quarter-size hail and a lot of lightning being the big report for most of the line right now. So we have that severe thunderstorm warning for another 15 or so minutes. As far as the wind is concerned, we've seen maybe a good 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts on the Power 5 right now. And let's take a look at our base velocity here. So let's take a little bit closer look to Medina. So Medina itself, the central half of the county, looking a little bit less rainy. Still some showers involved across Medina County towards Granger and points eastward. A lot of that steady, heavy rain. And the further south towards the at least southern half of Medina County around the I-76 corridor, going to be a soggy commute for a lot of folks as they are traveling across our southern half of the viewing area. So right now, let's take a look at some of the cameras, if we can pop some of those up right now. So let's see here. Downtown Cleveland, a little bit of light to moderate rain right now. Some at least raindrops on our camera. Currently looking at our downtown skyline. And let's see if I can get our Akron camera popped up as well. Let's see here. Would help if I had. There we go. Okay. There's our Akron camera. Not really anything falling from the sky right now, but clouds are certainly getting much darker. So that's indication of some potential of some rain out there. But downtown Akron still looking pretty dry for the moment. But the threat for rain is increasing for Summit County. So you want to give yourself a little bit of extra time if you're going to be traveling between now and I'd say about 4 o'clock, as these raindrops just kind of on the heel of Medina County into parts of Summit County right now. So Akron looking dry towards Barberton, but the rain showers starting to make an appearance around Solon, most likely along the at least 322 to 422 corridors, and a lot of that light to moderate rain here in Greater Cleveland. But as far as the severe thunderstorm warning, the only one we have is in Medina County right now, and that goes until about 2:30, and current time is a little after, let's see, 2:17 for the moment. So we will see that at least go into effect for the next several minutes right now. So we do have, let's see, tree and utility wires down. We've got in Seville. So we have seen a little bit of damage. Oh, here goes that severe thunderstorm warning. So a lot of that potential of severe weather kind of starting to relax a little bit. So that is some good news. National Weather Service did cancel that warning a little ahead of time. So that's some good news, but still a lot of heavy and steady rain here in Northeast Ohio to get into the middle part of the afternoon today. So we're looking at that severe thunderstorm warning now canceled, which is some good news, but still a lot of heavy rain. Certainly some maybe gusty winds, 30 to 40 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the at least velocity map right here. Oh my goodness, I've got too many computer monitors and not enough time. Okay, let's see here. 36, 26. So these are estimates. These are a few thousand feet up. So the potential for maybe some 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts, a possibility throughout the next half hour, 45 minutes, and that will start to make its way into parts of Summit and into at least Wayne County, starting to make an appearance in some of those stronger winds towards Worcester. So the threat will be there for some stronger winds. We might have another severe thunderstorm warning in the next couple of hours in a couple locations, but I don't anticipate a lot of widespread severe weather by any stretch. But the heavy, steady rain and some frequent lightning will be a possibility by the time we do get into the mid and late afternoon today for most areas. So if you're going to be traveling, give yourself plenty of extra time. Right now, the only severe thunderstorm warning we've had has since expired, which is some good news, and we'll be back on the air if we do need to. But a lot of that rain is sub-severe at the moment. But if there's another warning or anything else starts to creep back in and I notice, we'll be right back here online on YouTube or Facebook to bring you the latest. So definitely stay safe out there. Take some extra time if you're going to be traveling, and a lot more of this rain on tap for the second half of the day today through this evening.